Hello, everybody. Welcome to another movie review where we are going to war. War for the Planet of the Apes. And before we start, gotta ask you a question.
Okay.
And the question is, I won't ask you to say your thoughts on, the earlier Planet of the Apes films, but what do you think of Rise and Dawn?
I think Rise showed you how the potential catastrophe. If you've ever seen the original and you already know the storyline, this one shows you the beginning, how apes became super intelligent. We see
Yes.
I guess you could see the progenitor of the evolved ape species.
Yeah, sure.
And I think Rise was a perfect way to start because you always wondered, how did the apes evolve that quickly? How did they become so smart? And you get that in the Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
You do. You get the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
You do. And Dawn is great. Look, I mean, when we went into Rise, we had no expectations.
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know how it was going to go down.
And look, rebooting the Planet of the Apes franchise
It was a risky move. Very risky.
What's not easy, just ask Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I mean, a lot of reboots and remakes, they almost 99%, give or take.
Yeah, they just don't do
fail.
a good job. They fail. Rise happened to be a really pleasant surprise. Everybody really enjoyed it.
Amazing exception.
Yes. So, Dawn, of course, had, Matt Reeves took over as the director in Dawn. Did a great job. The movie was awesome. So now we're here with War for the Planet of the Apes. And, for me, this was one of my most anticipated ones for this summer. It was anticipated.
Are not easy.
Oh God, no! They're not easy at all. They're incredibly tough to do, especially the last film, because
you know what to expect after the last film. Last film was just really up there.
Well, yeah, but not only that, but you have to wrap up an entire story's worth in one film. That's not easy to accomplish. So going into this, I was very curious of what they were going to do.
Yeah, you wondered how it was all going to play out too.
Yes, you honestly really did. You wondered. So, where should we start? You think? Where should we start?
Well, for one thing, we're not going to spoil this film.
Yeah, guys, look, we're not going to spoil it because we really want you to enjoy the movie for yourselves. We don't want you to...
This is a rarity for us because this is probably one of the more exceptional films I've seen in a long time.
And we feel like if we were to give you a ton of spoilers, you're going to go in and you're not going to have the experience we did, and it's not fair for you guys. So,
I mean, this was a very good movie. I'd recommend it to anybody.
Yes. So, I think I'm going to start with the acting. I think I'm going to start with the acting. And you know what? Honestly, the acting is fantastic here. Andy Serkis, who played Caesar in Rise and Dawn.
Wow.
This guy deserves an Oscar. I mean, I'm serious. If not an Oscar, at least an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
And I am just shocked that we can't get him a nomination. He's so good, man. He's so fantastic. And yes, of course, he's acting it. CGI is over him as an actor, but he's still conveying it. He's making it believable. He's so good. He's so good at it. Also, Steve Zahn is in this.
Yes.
Steve Zahn plays a character called Bad Ape.
Bad Ape. All I can say about him,
hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
He's one of those oddball type characters that you kind of like. It's like, where did this guy come from?
An oddball, and for me, you almost think that the comedy here could derail the story the way he's doing it. Absolutely not. In fact, it kind of enhances it.
he made me laugh at almost every scene where he does something funny. I'm just like trying to keep my laughter in, so I don't annoy the audience. It was like I was gonna start laughing so hard.
You're just laughing like, this is funny. This is really funny, and it doesn't take you out of the dramatic moments. And Steve Zahn did a great job not going too over the top with it, and I really liked that a lot. He did a fantastic job. And of course, we got to talk about Woody Harrelson.
Oh my God, Woody!
Man,
you've been killing it ever since probably the most prime movie I've seen him really launch his career again. Ever since Zombieland, he's been blowing it up.
Zombieland, absolutely. But a few years ago, or maybe a couple years ago, I'm not sure, we saw a movie where Woody Harrelson played the villain, sort of the bad guy of the piece, and that was Out of the Furnace.
Yes, he was great in that one.
He was fantastic in Out of the Furnace.
Kind of reminds me of his character in this movie a little bit.
Yes, and from that movie, you're like, man, he could play the bad guy.
Oh,
he can do it. And this, he pulls it off in the fact of, you know what? I'm completely believe everything I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
I completely believe it 100%. And no matter what you tell me, I will do it, what I have to do.
I mean, the facial expressions he does in this movie is where he's like all serious, but you can tell he's a little bit off his rocker.
He's a little bit like, okay, this guy is...
He believes he's got a mission from God, basically.
He believes he's so right that nothing will convince him otherwise.
That and, like, the end justify the means.
Yes, absolutely. He is so fantastic. I mean, there's this one scene, again, I won't give it away, but where him and Caesar are talking. And they're having this full-on conversation. And it's intense, and it's dramatic, and you completely buy into it, and you completely believe it. You're never taken out for a moment.
And even with, and you know, him and Andy, the scenes that they do together, you can just see the, like what he just said, the current scene that he was talking about, the raw emotion that you get to see from Caesar. It's powerful.
Oh, it's off the charts. It's fantastic.
I mean, the emotion throughout the movie is great.
Yeah, everybody does a great job. All the side actors, everybody, nobody falters for a second. And again, you know, look, you got to make it believable that apes can talk and do all this stuff. They did it in Rise and Dawn, and I had no doubt they were going to do it here, but you never know. It works. It works really well. Also, I'm going to say something again. The CGI in Rise and the CGI in Dawn were immensely fantastic.
I mean, you couldn't even tell they looked faked. I mean, they look so realistic looking.
There's close-ups where they literally do a close-up right to their face. And I'm telling you, it almost is like, as much as my skin is right here, it looks...
makes like the Wahlberg version of Planet of the Apes. It makes them look like all the masks that they did for that look pitiful.
Oh, absolutely. It's so fantastic. And the CGI just in everything, the interaction with the humans, everything. I mean, it's almost like they took the realism that you got from Dawn and just upped it even more.
And you know, another point I have to put out in this film, it's not just a war story, it's a family story too. You know, it's a survival story.
It's a survival story. It's a story of...
the heart, too.
Of trying to protect the ones you care about.
Yes. Which there was, I won't say I wouldn't even consider it a spoiler.
Okay.
You know, through the trailers, you see them taking a young girl.
Yes.
The scenes between her and, I hope I get the name right, I think the sign language or anything, I'm thinking it's Maurice. You know,
I think Maurice.
His Caesar's friend, I guess you could say his advisor, second in command. The scenes between him and the little girl are great.
Oh, they're fantastic. I love them. They're absolutely great.
I love how the bond between them, not just between her and Maurice, it slowly extends to Caesar, which at first he doesn't want almost nothing to do with her.
He's a little apprehensive about it.
Yeah, he just like, she's human, I don't know if I can trust her.
Yes.
I mean, the movie was great.
The movie was absolutely great. I also will say that the action scenes are phenomenal.
Mhm.
The action scenes are phenomenal. There's literally action scenes that are in the beginning of the movie that are, you could almost put them in a finale of a movie, and they'd be amazing. I mean, they literally have, the action scenes are fantastic and well choreographed, because again, you're dealing with a ton of CGI.
Oh, yeah.
You're dealing with, the guns, you're dealing with the forest, you're dealing with a lot of stuff here. And I'll tell you, it just really, it's so well done, so well executed. And I just love the hell out of it. And again, I'm always kind of waiting in this film. I'm always kind of waiting for them to falter. Like, okay, this is the scene they're going to mess up, right? Because they got to mess up, because it's the third film, they're bound to do it. They don't do it.
They make every scene literally practically perfect.
Absolutely. Every scene is perfect. It's awesome. I will also give huge props to Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves, whether it was Cloverfield, whether it was Let Me In, Dawn, this movie, I believe he's going to be directing the Batman. I believe he's going to be going to that next. He has not disappointed me yet. This is not a director that is just like, well, just slap something together. He really cares about the story. He cares about the characters. And you could tell that he really wants to craft a well-rounded story and really make you invest in these people.
I was invested from beginning to the end. That's how well this movie was done.
It's a fantastic, well-made movie. And, Matt Reeves has talked about maybe wanting to do another one. Look, I'm going to be honest here. This needs to stay a trilogy.
Yes.
It just needs to
honestly,
do it.
the way they end the movie, no spoilers.
No spoilers, but this is Caesar's story.
Yeah. The way they end it, it's just from the beginning to the end, the beginning of the series to the end, to the end of this movie, it was the perfect ending for him.
Yes, it absolutely was. Yes. And for me, there's a lot of franchises that want to go for that part 4 and have gone for that part 4, and it hasn't worked. Could they make it work for Planet of the Apes? I don't doubt they could, but you're not gonna, I don't feel you're gonna get as invested.
Yeah. The only thing they could possibly do is show like a future version, like couple decades later, see how the world has changed since then.
Sure.
And
I will want to say this again, no spoilers, but you can either take this trilogy as what it is, or you may see connections to the original series.
There's quite a few Easter eggs in this movie.
You may. It's up to you. It's up to you whether you want to think of this as
a possible prequel of how it happened.
How it happened, or it's just a separate thing, and what a coincidence.
Both series, I think, were perfect.
Yes, absolutely. I think both were perfect. And you know what? It's hard to compare this trilogy to the original Planet of the Apes series, because, different styles of filmmaking, CGI, everything like that. It's hard to compare. It really is.
The original, I thought, was just great how they did that.
Yeah.
This one, I think, this one, as long as they don't do the time travel thing, which I think would be I don't think it would fit in with this series.
I don't think it would. At least that's my thought.
I think so. Honestly, this one, the old series and this one definitely blow the Wahlberg version definitely out of the water.
The Wahlberg version.
That one should be erased from history, to be honest.
Yeah, it's bad. So do I see this franchise continuing? I personally would not like to. I can see another maybe 20, 30 years down the road, maybe it gets rebooted again. But honestly, if you're going to end it, this was the absolute perfect way to do it.
Like you said, you had the perfect casting, perfect storyline, great scenery. That's the one thing that always really gets me in movies, is the scenery that they do in these types of movies.
Yeah.
Also, I like how you get to see I don't know, how would you say it? It would be like sort of a symbolism of Caesar's conflict in this movie. He wants to protect his people, but he doesn't want to turn into something that he doesn't want to do.
And look, and it's not really even a spoiler, really. The idea that he has images of Koba.
Yeah.
From the last movie, he has images of him, sort of almost kind of haunting him.
Yeah.
Of
the violence and hate that Koba felt toward humans, and Caesar's kind of conflicted, considering, I won't say anything that happens in this movie, but let's just say not a lot of good stuff happens to him in this film, which, directs toward him and his people. He doesn't want to become like Koba. He doesn't want to become a violent monster like him.
Yes. And I will point out another thing, which is the music. The music, Michael Giacchino did the score. He did the score for Spider-Man Homecoming, the one we saw last week. He did this score. He is quickly becoming one of my absolute favorite composers. It's a tall order to say, but I think he's definitely the next John Williams.
Yeah.
He's hitting it out of the park. He's that good. And the score here is so atmospheric.
Yeah.
And when it needs to be bombastic, it's bombastic, but it never takes you out like, oh, this is the music moment.
Yeah.
Never does it.
It fits with almost every scene that we get in this movie. The music is like perfect.
Yeah, the music is perfect. Everything works. And again, it just, like I said, I'm trying to find a fault. I can't find a single fault. Even the little girl who, I don't want to say who she plays, but the one they find, she's a newcomer.
Yeah.
And she even does an amazing job.
That's a great start for a new career.
For a new career, bringing her into this franchise and how great she does. And again, that's credit also to Matt Reeves as a director who casts it, who handles her performance and guides her through what, could be a complicated thing, dealing with CGI, dealing with all this stuff.
I mean,
she does a great job.
When we see her in the movie, I was kind of worried in the trailers when I see her. I'm like, I don't know what kind of role this girl's gonna have. Just the facial expressions alone that she does in this film, you can really see the connection, and she doesn't even have to say anything.
No, absolutely not. She doesn't even need to say anything.
Every scene that she does.
Absolutely, 100%. So, I mean, is there anything else that we're missing? Is there anything else you want to bring up?
I will say this without spoiling the movie.
Sure.
Well, I don't know if it could be a potential spoiler. I don't know how to say it without saying it. I mean, you do see previous stuff with Koba, the visions and stuff that Caesar's having. Yeah. We also see that his influence kind of still has an impact on some other apes that you see in this film.
Yes.
And it does lead to some potential consequences for Caesar and his people.
It does, yeah. So there are consequences and things that happen. Again, no spoilers, but, it's all emotional. You feel it. All right, so what is your grade rating for War for the Planet of the Apes?
This movie was so great, I'd have to say probably... I almost found nothing to flaw in this film. This is how good this movie was. I have to probably give it A+.
Really, you're going A+?
I mean, there was nothing I didn't like about this film. The acting was great, scenery was great, the storyline was great, even the ending was great.
Yeah, I honestly completely agree with you. I think this is a perfect way to end a trilogy. No further, but if we get it, we get it. But as far as I'm concerned, this is an A+ movie. Absolutely A+ movie. See it in the theaters if you can. Go. And you know what? Honestly, the whole three films have been just absolutely rock solid for me.
I can't wait to see if they do a box set. I would be amazed at what they use for the cover.
I would love to see what the Blu-ray cover comes out looking like. Hope it looks like the other two ones.
Mine, if I were gonna do a cover, I'd be each side would be each face of Caesar from beginning to end.
Absolutely. So guys, that was our review of War for the Planet of the Apes. Hope you like it. And we will be back next time for another movie review. All right?
Non-stop movie reviews for at least the next month so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Non-stop. So looking forward to bringing it to you guys. Okay? See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.